The first time I attempted to summit Bedford Peak was some years ago, probably around 2014. I drove down here, down Silverado Canyon Road, to this little town that barely appears on Google Maps. People who live out here eat forest fires for breakfast and crap on land developers at lunch. They're tough. And this area has stood up to most change, even though change is always just around the corner. But where I live, in the land of Mickey Mouse, we don't get streets like this, with trees. And to find a hiking trail just at the end of it was something to see. Oh, sure, the trail kicked my butt more than once, and after a devastating fire about a year later, the trail was closed in the hopes of allowing nature to return to those charred hills. Well, nature did return, and so did the hikers. And I haven't been able to find a parking spot out there in years. The last time I drove out was last February. That explains all the water in the road. Right about now, everything is as dry as a tinderbox, with the pun being both unfortunate and possibly fatal. There's no water, little wildlife. Heck, I was still seeing the remains of charred plant life. I didn't make it last February. There still wasn't any parking. But I did go out there a few days ago, on October 27th, for a little hike up to Bedford Peak. Join me, won't you?
Good morning. Well, it's about 7 a.m. I'm at the Maple Springs Trailhead, Silverado Canyon, California. Freezing my ass off this morning. It's about 50 degrees. It's freaking cold, man. And I forgot to charge my phone. So my phone is not really as charged as it could be, so unfortunately I'm not going to be filming as much on this hike. It's going to be a lot of stills again, with my apologies. So, let's get going. So, having hiked up from the parking lot, as you can see, the trail marker is an unassuming little arrow coming over here to a sign for the Silverado Trail. Is that what this is called? I really couldn't tell you. We're heading up to Bedford Peak this morning, and this is seriously the kind of trail that just kicks my ass. I haven't hiked this trail in about 5 years, partially because this area is very popular. Also, because this is just an ass-kicking trail. This is just a trail that you hike if you want your ass kicked. Also, if you want to catch a little frostbite. It is freaking cold out here this morning. So you start off gaining altitude almost right away. As a matter of fact, I can look down from here and almost see the parking lot that I parked in below me. But there's a reason why I was thinking about making this mostly photos, because it's all uphill. And this is the easy part, as you'll see. Anyway, let's keep going. So, as you can see from the trail behind me, I've only been going for a little while, and it's already been kind of steep, and I can see the trail going off ahead of me, and it doesn't get much better. This is not a hike you do because it's pretty, or because it has a lot of great amenities, or because of the Starbucks on the trail. This isn't the kind of hike you do for that. This is the kind of hike you do because you know you're going back to San Jacinto, and you got to get your climbing dialed in, and that's what this hike is all about. So, that tree ahead of us is one I like to refer to as the bee tree, because one of the times I was up here hiking, some bees came out of there and swarmed all over me, so that was fun. But from there, you can see how the trail just goes up and up and up. So I've been going for about a half hour now. And there goes the trail that I'm on. And down there is the trail that I was on. Going up. Okay, so about 40 minutes into my hike, I've just hit another switchback, but here's the thing. I also hit the first great view. Hello, hand. First great view of this trip, just out that way. Okay, so it's mostly clouds, but don't worry, we'll get there. There's been so much climbing. This is the road that I drove in on. I hope you saw that. And this is, that's where I have to go. So, I've just come from down there. Ain't that pretty? And we're at another switchback, so we're going around. So the views are getting a little bit more grand, even though you still can't see the beach. And the climb keeps coming. One of the nice things is, ooh, that sun is bright. One of the nice things is I'm finally in the sun, so I can take off my puffy and be a little less freezing cold. No, that's not right. Be a little less warm in the sun. That's what I meant to say. I'm very out of breath because the climbing is is a little tough, and I'm glad it is. It's supposed to be. This is what I need for training, and I keep giving you the sun, don't I? I keep piling the sun into the camera. Here, hold on. Either it's in my face or your face. Anyway, one of the things I wanted to tell you about this trail, hey, look, there it is. One of the things I wanted to tell you about this trail is that it is mostly covered in shale and rock. So if you don't feel as though you're comfortable hiking on what may at times be a slick surface, this may not be the hike for you. But if you want something that's going to kick your butt, this is a good one. Can you... So it's 8:30. I've been hiking for about an hour and a half. And you can see here, whoo, hi, you can see here the trail goes up here, over there, and there's a little bit of it up there. It just keeps climbing and climbing. And the views just keep getting better and better. I will say this though. I've gone from, in the last 90 minutes, I've gone from wearing a puffy and being really cold to taking it off, having the sun right on me. Having the sun right on me, and it's a little hot. It's a little warm. I can't wait to get to the top. But do you hear that? That's the sound of being above the cars and above the city. That's a nice sound. I just got past, or I should say I passed because they were coming the other way. 2 old people jogging down this incline with this, slippery, shaly ground, jogging with their dogs in shorts and t-shirts. I get into the shadow and I'm freezing. I get out in the sun and I'm hot. I don't know, maybe when I hit 80, I will suddenly achieve this ability to not be super cold and super hot when it's a moderate temperature. But this is the kind of shit that happens when I go hiking. So hey, it's 9 o'clock. I've been out here. I dropped my trekking pole. I've been out here for about 2 hours. And that's how you pick up a trekking pole with another trekking pole. Anyway, how you doing? I'm tired and I'm hot. But the nice thing is I've been going for 2 hours, and you can see that I'm starting to get up towards the ridge line. I'm not climbing as much right now, but that's still coming. But the nice thing is I can start to see the scenery. I can start to see views, which is nice. Sadly, more climbing up there. So, I'm approaching this little hillock over here, this little rise, and the trail is widened out, so it's a little more comfortable for hiking on. The shale is turned into sand, so it's not bad. Anyway, coming up on this rise, and I wanted to tell you about one of the last times I was up here. I ran into a coyote. It was the last time I saw a coyote, as a matter of fact. Just switching hands. And coyotes are just gorgeous creatures. They tend towards the mangy side, but they're just like big dogs, you know? They're just like big stupid dogs. So anyway. This is not the peak, just in case you're wondering. This is just a very nice place to stop and have a break, which is what I'm going to be doing. So I'll see you a little further up the trail. So, I've come to the end of the Silverado Trail, and I'm now on the main divide road, which is a really big dirt road that crosses through all of this. And if you went straight ahead from here, back that way, if you went back that way for about 14 miles, eventually you'd reach my car, because that road goes around and back down to the bottom of this climb. But this climb isn't over yet, because this is supposed to be a climb to Bedford Peak, and we have not yet reached that. And unfortunately, since this is where all the meatheads go, all of the signage has bullet holes through it. So some of it you can't even read. So I'm really hoping that the sign is still there for Bedford Peak. Here's a, oh, that was my back you just heard break as I took a bad step. So here's a sign that says Bedford. And I read, at the top of the trail you make a right, and eventually you see the sign for Bedford, and I'm really hoping I do, and that I don't end up going 14 miles back to my car, because I'm tired. It's been 2.5 hours, and yeah, that's a bit of a climb. So let's keep going and get to the top of Bedford Peak.
So we're just rising a crest and looking down over the other side, the Inland Empire. We've got what I believe would be Paris Lake. Ken, is that what that is? Out there, and possibly the 15 running through here. And way out in the distance, you can barely see Mount San Jacinto. And I think the peak is just about that way. So, I read that in a break in the bars, there's a trail that goes up, and that's the way to the peak. I don't know if it's the way to the peak, but we're gonna find out.
So, can you dig that? 3,800 feet.
Woo!
It's not the tallest peak. In fact, the rise with the flag on it was actually higher than this peak. But I tell you something, I'm really glad to be here. You know, this is probably my 4th or 5th time coming up, and I'd never gotten to the actual peak signage. I'd always missed it. I'd always turned back too soon, or got discouraged, or you name it. But I think as I get better at this, and I learn, better how to pace myself, I learn better how much I need to eat and drink. And by the way, I finished a liter just coming up in 2.5 hours and started another liter. So I've been drinking. As a matter of fact, this morning I've been drinking Zip Fizz. And if you don't know what Zip Fizz is, it mixes really well with water. It has electrolytes, it has B vitamins, and it tastes really good. I'm having the grapefruit, and it's really, really, really good. So I guess that's it. That's about it for me today. Hold on just a second. There. And look, we're both in the shot. Maybe that'll be my thumbnail. Here. Thumbnail. So, anyway, what else? What to tell you? I was going to actually hike further today and try and do that loop. But my wife is homesick, and the longer I'm out, the more I feel like I should stop by a store and get her some orange juice and some chicken soup and go home and take care of her. She is feeling poorly. So until the next hike, which will be 2 weeks from now, and it will be San Jacinto, once again, I want to get to the top of that mountain. Until the next hike, I'll see you on the trail.
And there you have it. You've just survived another Ken LaSalle video. For more information about new releases, projects in the works, or even stuff from the archives, head on down to kenlasalle.com. You can also find me on Facebook, Twitter, and all around social media, just as long as it's called Facebook or Twitter. Thanks for your support, as always. Be sure to subscribe to this channel, and I'll be back soon with more nonsense.
Well, hi. So I'm hiking, I'm on my way back down the hillside, and I found out that I've been hiking right in the middle of hunting season. I've been running into hunters with, when I say guns, I mean multiples each. I'm not a hunter. I don't really appreciate that. But I gotta tell you, with as empty as these hills are, it's no wonder I'm not seeing anyone
bagging anything. The most wildlife I've seen on this trail has been a lizard and a bird, and not a big bird. You and I need to talk about the big extinction event that's going on right now one of these days, because you can see it. You come out into even the slightest bit of wilderness, you can see it. Anyway, happy hunting.